Welcome to Extol Live. I'm Angie Fenton. Extol Live is presented by Cutter Woodworking and the New Washington State Bank. Now, this morning, we're answering all things COVID with Dr. Eric Yazel, who offered up a daily dose of calm in the midst of the height of the pandemic. And I'll also ask about his ongoing quest to become, get this, quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts as well. We've also sent Extol reporter Addie Miners to take a look inside Seeds and Greens Outdoor Cafe. That's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss that. And musician Jacob Resch is in the studio this morning to talk about the release of his upcoming album, and we'll get to hear his first release as well. But first, we're going to dish in the kitchen with Colin Wood, who is what we're calling Extol's correspondent, although very often he makes the magic behind the camera. Now, I promised you I was going to cook you something since we're in the Extol Studios kitchen. We love that. But first, Colin, it's the 4th of July weekend. Lots of people are taking today off and Monday off. You get half of today off and all of Monday off. But what's happening around Southern Indiana?
So we do have a lot of things going on Southern Indiana. We got a lot of cities doing different things. We have an Independence Day celebration, of course, going on at the Covered Bridge Golf Club in Sellersburg. So that's not too far away. You should go check that out. The inside seating is actually going to be free. But you are going to have to reserve that. It's a first come, first serve. You got grass seating also. That is going to be for free. You're going to have blankets with you and just bring all your necessities because you got to be prepared for sitting in that grass. But if you are going to be wanting to pay just a little bit of money, you can get some seating in on the patio, and that's going to be $100. And also, if you want to sit in the lawn, that is going to be $40. So you got that going on.
That's in Sellersburg, and so free options, paid options. Saw some of our favorite meteorologists talking about it's going to be fantastic weather. Finally, we're not going to all be sweating and feeling like it's over 100 degrees. We're located here on the corner of Market and Vincennes in New Albany. And I know Mayor Gahan and the city of New Albany have a banger of an event coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, they do actually. It's going to be happening. It's their own Independence Day celebration, and it's going to be set for, like you said, July 3rd, which is tomorrow, the day before Independence Day. It's going to be along the scenic New Albany shoreline, and you're going to have the Crashers and the rising country star Dave Wilbert performing, along with local vendors that are going to go on. So you are going to have to pay for that, and they're going to be inflatables and games such as that. But the entry is free, so you do not have to get paid to get in, which I think is awesome. And it's also a good way for them to make some money too, because you're going to have to pay for those vendors and stuff. But if you just want to show up maybe for the concerts and then just the atmosphere, that is going to be free.
Absolutely. And if you haven't been before, the city of New Albany throws a great party. It's right there, like you said, we're calling that the shoreline, but it's there in the amphitheater. I know my family will be there to see it, and the Crashers always bring an amazing crowd. Okay, what else?
So another event we do have going on is the Madison Regatta, which I think is really cool because it's actually one of the biggest hydroplane boat races in the U.S., and that's going to be happening on the Ohio River. So that's really close to us. There's going to be other things there too, such as parades. The fireworks are going to be free to watch. You're going to have shopping, food, brew, and the hottest live acts around. I'm pretty excited to see what that is exactly, actually.
Madison has been positioning itself as kind of the music city, really, of Southern Indiana. And if you haven't been in the Madison Regatta, it's a must-see. People come from, not even just around the country, but all over the world to see this. And Madison has to be one of the most unique Southern Indiana cities that we have. If people want the full lineup, the schedule, how to buy tickets to the ticketed events, how do they find that?
You just want to go ahead and you're going to want to go to their website, and that's www.regatta or madisonregatta.com. So you could go on there, and you could also buy your tickets through there too. And I'm sure they'll also have a schedule so you can see what's lined up for their event they got going.
Okay, speaking again of Riverview, Riverside, how about River Stage?
So the River Stage, they're going to be having their Shoe Sensations Jammin' and Jeff at the River Stage with headliner Thunderstruck. And then on Saturday, they're also going to have Jeffersonville, Indiana Celebration of Freedom Parade. So parades are always fun. Everybody likes parades. So you could go out there, and then I think the entry is also free for them too.
Everybody
So
loves a parade, like
yeah,
you said.
and you could just go there with your family, enjoy, bring some friends, and it's sure to be an awesome event. So you gotta go check that out.
If you're not following Jeffersonville River Stage on Facebook, you should. They have been doing live outdoor events. It's fantastic, but I have to give a shout out to my buddy from Thunderstruck, Dave Moody. He is a lead singer like no other. Little tidbit for you. I'm going to lose his name. Billy Ray Cyrus. I was going to say, Colin, this might date me a little bit. Do you know the singer of Achy Breaky Heart? Do you even know the song Achy Breaky Heart?
I've never heard of it actually.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Daggers right there.
I listen to about 2 genres only, so anything outside of that.
That wasn't a genre thing. That was a generational gap right there that
I have
just
no idea. That
got.
has to be before me. I haven't heard.
All right.
anything
Well,
about
after Extol Live, he's going to hear Achy Breaky Heart on repeat. But Dave Moody rocks it with Thunderstruck, but he also used to rock it with Billy Ray Cyrus, who I guess I'm going to have to school you on who that is. And
Oh, I know who Billy Ray Cyrus is.
are you going to tell me he's Miley's dad?
Yeah.
My
That's
heart
about
is
just as
just
much
hurting.
as that I know.
My heart is just
I
hurting
have listened
today.
to him. I don't know what the songs are exactly, but of course I have heard his voice.
All right, by
but-
next Friday for our next Extol Live, we are going to quiz Colin on Billy Ray Cyrus's
Oh
song.
my gosh! I don't.
All right, you have one final event in a town that has been celebrating Founders Week all week long with our very first Extol Live. We kicked off last Friday, and we'll be sharing some of those tidbits on our social media and YouTube channel with snippets from the show. We had Lincoln Bridge, we had Judge Maria Granger, we had Tony Tees from Tony Tees Cobblers, and more. And we had, as we like to call her, Dr. Maya Treva Hodges from Charlestown. And Charlestown is capping off what's been a week-long celebration.
Yeah, city of Charlestown. That's where I'm from, and they're going to be having actually a balloon glow that's going on. I'm guessing that's like some lanterns, some of that cool action there. And then they're also going to have a concert going on, and that is going to be free with entry, and that's all going to be starting at 6 p.m. So you could go ahead and you go check that out as well, because I'm sure it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be, again, really, really nice weather this weekend. Now, since we're in the kitchen, I decided I would at least cook or heat up a little tea, one of my favorite things. I asked Colin, because one thing that I love to do, and we'll pull him out from behind the camera coming up on an Extol Live in the very near future, Jason Applegate, who is running our mixer right now, he's the chef, I would say, of the Extol team. So we'll get him in the kitchen. I can cook if I need to. I like to cook on occasion, but I asked Colin, what does he not like to eat? Because I'm somebody who doesn't like to prepare things people don't like to eat, even though he thought I was tricking him. And what are the 2 things that you said you don't like?
So the biggest things I don't like to eat are, it has to be grilled food and meatloaf. Those are my 2 biggest things. And anything outside of that, I'm fine with eating. I'm not too much of a picky eater, but usually it's with grilled food. So if we're having like a grill out, I'm always the singled one out. I have to go put it in the microwave. And sometimes people make fun of me for that, but I don't really care. That's just how I like my food.
Meatloaf and grilled food. We won't do that to Colin. But what I do have, I believe, are maple bacon donuts.
Oh, I've had these before, actually. I don't know. It hasn't been these specific ones, but I love mixing bacon with sweets because it's kind of that salt and sweet mixture. And I think that's a really good flavor. And wow, that is a giant donut.
Well, I like meat and sweet. At least I did. I'm vegan now for health reasons. But these are actually, I really labored hard. I stopped at Honey Cream Donut in New Albany. They're an institution. They've been around for 8 decades. This is a Texas donut. And I would say everything's big in Texas. There's a reason why it's called that.
Sense.
And then these are glazed with chocolate and sprinkles. And so you get to enjoy, our guests get to enjoy. We just wanted to give a little shout out. And also, for the fact that this is your first time in the Extol kitchen and you did some homework, at least on the events, we are going to school him again on Achy Breaky Heart with Billy Ray Cyrus. I feel so old now. I can't help it. Well, Extol reporter Addie Miners is new to Southern Indiana. We've introduced her on social media, but her main job is to explore the area with fresh eyes. And we love that about her because she looks at Southern Indiana in a way that those of us who've lived there for so long can't anymore, but want to. So we thought, where should we send her first? Here's what you answered. Take a look.
What's up, guys? Addie Miners here with Extol, and I have been exploring all over Southern Indiana for cool places to check out. I've even taken some suggestions from people on the street. Let's hear what they suggested.
One of my favorite places to go and eat is going to be, of course, Borden for their charcuterie boards, and for the bistro. They have done wonderful lunch and snacks.
This candy store, though, is really one of the few candy stores in the whole area. And this guy's been making his own candy for probably 75, 80 years.
This is the Raven Roost. I think they're really new. They've changed locations like 3 times, but super cool in there. I go there a lot. Just like incense and crystals and like any kind of like witchy stuff that you would want. That's a super like, I'd say it's kind of a hidden gem in New Albany.
The freeze bar, the best freeze bars, the fresh snow cones in town. We do it with or without alcohol. You can bring your children if you can't get away for the day, and you got your kids, and you need a drink, come to the freeze bar.
Yeah, so Gavin and Ryan and Monica just both joined the New Albany scene, and people are loving what they have to offer so far, and both great places, especially in the summer weather. Both have nice outdoor spots to kind of hang out. Rec Bar is always a classic just because I get addicted to the Papa Shot and stay there for too long, and the pinball machines downstairs are awesome.
So, of course, you have Blessings on Spring, the designer fragrance, Bliss, True Bliss. Then, like I said, you got the Village on Spring, O'Shea's. So it's really a happening area now. So, and of course, we got the Town. That's an Italian restaurant. Awesome.
Agave and Rye over on Main, one of my favorites. They have great margaritas. Floyd County Brewing Company is wonderful. They have I like the area out back that you can sit and usually have live music on a nice day, and they have the brick oven pizzas. Those are probably my 2 favorite. Pints and Union has a great hamburger too. Probably one of the best in town.
Well, it sounds like I have a lot of cool places to check out in Southern Indiana, which I'm so excited to do because we're starting a new series called Explore with Addie, where I will be checking out all these fun, cool places around the area. But if you have a suggestion or would like me to come visit your shop, restaurant, anything of the sort, send us an email to extol@extolmag.com. I can't wait to show you guys all of the fun, amazing places around here in Southern Indiana. See you all soon.
We love having Addie Miners as an addition to the team. And like she said, if you want Addie to come explore anywhere in Southern Indiana, send us an email, extol@extolmag.com. Now, our first in-studio guest is Dr. Eric Yazel. And Dr. Yazel is going to be talking all things COVID with us. He became a familiar face throughout the region early 2020 as the pandemic hit, and we were all faced with the great unknown. Today, though, he'll address questions and some fears with us. And then at the end of a brief discussion, we'll add in a little levity, and I'm going to say kick off a few questions about his lifelong dream of playing quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to get that out here. But Dr. Yazel, let's start with the serious stuff first, just testing the temperature. I want to set the scene. I first met you when I worked for a local TV station in studio, March 2020, and we were talking about this virus that was out there that had come in waves throughout the world and had finally hit the United States. And we talked about it, and then you and I still can't remember whether it was the week before or early that week, Friday the 13th of March, boom, everything changed. So fast forward, where are we today?
Well, we've lived a lifetime, I think, in the last 15 months or so. But I have to say today, we're really well positioned, to be honest. Our caseloads are dropping. Actually, Clark County had its first 0 day last week, which was a pretty cool milestone. More importantly, our hospitalizations are way down. Most of the hospitals in the area are down in the single digits. Our deaths are down. Our immunization rollout. There's been some bumps in the road with it, but we've gotten to our most in need population quickest, and I think our numbers have reflected that. So we've got some work to do still, but I think we're in really good shape right now.
Let's talk about those vaccinations. Where are we with vaccinations? I mean, I guess really in general, are the majority of people getting the vaccines, or do you believe what you see on social media that there's a lot more reticence?
It kind of depends on the age range. The older population, our turnouts were great. As we worked our way down into the younger age brackets, we've seen less and less. And I think there are a couple of reasons for that, but we need to stress the importance of that and really get out and make sure that's a barrier-free process for everybody.
There were Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson. People are expressing some different thoughts about which is most effective. I mean, and there's true data that supports that. If, for instance, you receive the Johnson & Johnson, is it time to talk to a doctor, to your doctor about, I read an article the other day from a reputed source, maybe time coming in the months to get a booster with Pfizer or Moderna. What do you think about that?
It's something to definitely monitor. Each one of the vaccines have their own benefits and their own kind of risk profile there. So, that's why we try to get as much education out there so everybody can make their own informed decision. No boosters imminent yet, but I do think that's something to keep monitoring the news, and we'll make sure that we put it out there when that time does come, or hopefully if it comes. But I think it's probably a win, and we'll make sure everybody knows what they need to do.
Now, speaking of when, we're hearing about the Delta variant, and we're seeing in different countries how that's affecting. What is it? Why is it different? And what do we need to know?
I think it's one thing that's going to be something that we see in the future, just kind of over and over again. There's going to be different variants of this vaccine. Delta's been the most recent one. Seems to be more infectious. There's some mixed reports on severity wise. I think the one major difference that's important is for a lot of people that did the 2-shot series, they got pretty good protection after the first shot. It's not really showing a lot of effectiveness against the Delta variant until after the second shot. So I've really been encouraging people who are on the fence and planning to do either Pfizer or Moderna, the 2-shot, to get out there and get that done.
Do you see, and I even hesitate to ask this question because I know inside what I'm screaming, which is what most people want, which is a return and to continue opening, and for so many different reasons. But do you see us having to revert back in any way? Is this something that you have to continue monitoring? And when I say that, for folks who are watching, I'm talking about in terms of mask wearing and businesses and social distancing and all of that.
I think it's one of those things you ask 10 different public health people, you'll probably get 10 different answers. I don't think we'll see any large scale moving backwards, but I do think there's some certain things we have to monitor. Our breakthrough cases, Delta variant, whatever comes after that. And we need to get to that younger population and get our vaccination turnouts higher, because that helps everybody from the herd immunity standpoint and things.
We asked Extol friends, fans, followers to share some questions, and the majority of people asked questions about kids. I have a 5-year-old. She is attending camp at the YMCA. I appreciate them. I appreciate everything they're doing in terms of safety and cleanliness and doing their part. But the fact is, she's too little to get a vaccine. What about the kids?
And that's one thing that we've encouraged is even though there's no, mandates or recommendations out there, we still want to be a great community partner. And so we've had a lot of the camps reach out and say, okay, we're going to have a large number of kids that aren't in the vaccination range. What can we do to keep them safe? And we've worked with them on different protocols and ways to protect. And we've actually had some early meetings already about school coming back in the fall, what we're going to recommend for schools and things like that. And so, I do think we have to have some flexibility to change as the picture changes, but also have to, they're putting their trust in the schools and, the local health officials to keep their kids safe. And we need to take that seriously.
I'm going to just start reading some questions that people actually sent in. When do you think vaccines will be available for our younger kids?
I think we're still probably 6 months to a year out from that. I've heard that, I think Moderna is working for that same age range as Pfizer. That's probably the next change you're going to see. And then I think we're probably looking at 2022 before that age range gets lowered. I know there's some preliminary work on that, but I don't see anything imminent that way.
And I think you kind of just answered this one, but I promised someone that I would ask this question anyway. Will kids wear masks when they go back to school?
We certainly recommend it for any of the unvaccinated population or any high risk or things like that. I don't think most of the local area at least plans to make that mandatory, but I think it is recommended.
And something that I always appreciated about you through the last year is that you don't recommend things that you wouldn't for your own kids. And you take that very seriously. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, as parents are facing, okay, so I don't have to, but should I? What are your thoughts?
It depends. Everybody has their own unique home situation. I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. My 11-year-old, as soon as he hits that 12, he wants to get vaccinated, and I certainly support that. My kids probably will not mask because my wife and I are vaccinated. We don't have any high risk people in our home or things like that. Other homes aren't the same. If you have somebody who has a low immune system for whatever reason or other concerns, then that is something that you want to think about, because protecting everyone is the key.
And I love that you say that protecting everyone is the key, and that should be the key. If a child is not immunocompromised or doesn't have family members who are, should kids, and again, I'm reading questions from our different followers and viewers and things, should kids wear masks when they're playing outside with other kids if all of the kids are average kids?
I think if average kids are outside, honestly, what you see is more tugging at the mask and moving around and hands to the face and things that are a public health issue anyway. So no, I think they can play, outside. That transmission is low enough that I think they can just enjoy themselves and be kids.
Somebody asked, what kinds of masks? Is the cloth ones that so many of us have been wearing, or the reusable ones? And I know that you had one actually with you, the reusable, or excuse me, the ones that you just use and then throw after one-time use. What kinds of masks do you recommend for people who still want to mask up, and again, in particular, for kids?
Yeah, I think comfort is key, and that's one thing that I think we haven't really talked about a lot. But the more you're adjusting it and messing with it, the more likely you are to actually self-inoculate yourself. So comfort first and foremost. I wear the medical grade one just because I'm around those at the hospital all the time, so I tend to have them readily available. I think cloth is fine. Obviously, there's different levels of protection that you can get, but I think any mask, is a good start. So.
One of our Extol readers / followers asked, they were planning potentially a trip coming up in the next month or so, flying to another state to visit with grandma and grandpa, whom they haven't seen in a long time. One would be considered somewhat immunocompromised, but grandma and grandpa are willing to have them come and visit. What would you do?
I think, we all need that social interaction. I personally went almost a calendar year without being able to see my mom in a nursing home. First opportunity, I'm out there, and I know they probably feel the same way. You could do some things to protect yourself. If you have a child who's not of the immunization age, you could even consider testing them a few days before you leave, to make sure that they're negative. That's not a huge fail safe, but it certainly helps. Flights and things like that are a problem, but there's some things you can do to protect yourself there as well, and try to distance as much as possible. And the one thing I stress, I get a lot of travel questions, and I say it's not the travel itself, it's the decisions you make when you get to your destination. So, probably don't want to go to a jam-packed restaurant with the whole family, things like that. So mainly you make good decisions when you get to your destination.
What about actually being on airplanes? We hear about the air circulation. Is that safe?
It's one of the higher risk things that we do. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of ways around it. So that's why we do encourage, if you're kind of riding the fence on your mask wearing, that's the time to wear it from beginning to end. Sit as a family unit if you can, so you control who's around you and things. But there's only so much you can do. That being said, unless you're directly by someone with COVID, it's really hard to get enough of an inoculation dose to cause trouble just from the air recirculation and things like that.
In terms of your medical profession, to be dealing with something that just slapped us all in the face and ever changing, ever evolving. How do you deal with that?
Well, it's a challenge. I can't tell you some of just the work that the public health folks, the frontline healthcare workers have put in on this. I know it sounds mild, but even just the exhaustion of putting on all the PPE, going into a room, coming out, taking it off, walking to the next room, putting that on, and then just the mental fatigue and that grind of day after day after day. So it really, as our numbers have gotten better, it's just a breath of fresh air for everyone. I mean, they're really starting to, get back to a sense of normalcy. When I work an ER shift now, it feels like a shift that was similar to 2 or 3 years ago. So, and that's a good thing.
Last night we shared, I think it was the Louisville Business First Healthcare Heroes Award, the article that they wrote on you. You were certainly one of our healthcare heroes. And one of the things that I think that you offered to people, you made it public on your Facebook page. Every day you took time to write what you called a daily dose of calm. Why did you do that? And I also have to ask, how did you do that? Because, I mean, like you said, the exhaustion of it, and that was really when things were dark. People were despairing. Deaths were something that we were hearing about on a daily basis, and you were in the front line, but yet you took time every single day. And I mean, hundreds, if not thousands of people turned to your Facebook page for that literal daily dose of calm.
It was never anything planned. It was kind of something I stumbled into. There were some healthcare decisions that people were making in Seattle when it first hit. And I saw a lot on social media of like, why are they doing this? And why are they doing that? And I knew we were probably gonna have to do likewise when it hit us. So I was like, I'm gonna put something out there and kind of explain what's going on. And then something else came up the very next day. And I was like, well, I'll explain that one too. And then finally on the third day, a friend emailed me. He's like, man, where's my dose of calm today? And it just kind of took off from there. And there was just so much information from different sources with different agendas. And I just felt like, we tried to be fair and just educate people and not come from a specific angle or try to steer people. We just tried to put the information out there so they could understand what was going on.
I have a letter that is in my drawer right now. Extol, I'm excited to say, is getting ready to once again publish the magazine where we started this all. We stopped because one, we were trying to figure out where our feet were, but also how do you ask local businesses throughout Southern Indiana to carry a magazine while they're just trying to figure out how to survive and what comes next. So we're really excited, but there will be some powerful moments that are in there, including a letter from a woman who lost her husband during COVID and wants people just to remember and not to forget. But also there will be some moments in there of some of the biggest blessings that came out of one of the worst collective times in recent history. What about for you? What has been really a blessing that came out of this?
Well, I just think how the community came together. I think, and that was one of my goals when I did the Daily Dose of Calm, is to try to encourage people to have a sense of community and look out for each other. And we just saw so many cool examples of people going above and beyond. I mean, there are people who are trying to make PPE in their barns and coming up with like rudimentary ventilators, just trying to help out. We had a homeless person that actually made masks for us out of just scraps that she found and brought them to the ER for us. I mean, just so many cool examples of that we just saw over and over again, and just really, really proud of the way our Southern Indiana community responded.
Okay, last COVID-esque question for you, and then we're going to get to the quarterback question. Mental health has been at the forefront. I think that it's something that is imperative for all of us to recognize the importance of it. I think the last year, if you missed that, I don't know how you did. What about for you when it comes to, you've already talked about the exhaustion. You've seen things that none of us will ever imagine seeing firsthand. What do you do to take care of your own mental health, especially as a dad and a husband?
Well, and that's the thing is, COVID used to take hours a day of just meetings and, putting out little brush fires here and there and things. And that's starting to slack off. And there's so many other things that we want to do as a health department and just, through the emergency department and all things. And I've had to say, you know what, it's time to take some time for me and my family. I've kind of given up some responsibilities over the last week or two to look forward to spending more time with family and just trips and, getting out in nature and things like that, because I agree. We all sacrificed a lot, and it's sometimes all of us need a little me time. So.
I think I saw some camping photos on your Facebook page. Are you an expert?
I'm far from an expert. We did a kayaking trip way off the grid and spent the night on the river and But yeah, I think I demonstrate I got a long way to go if I'm going to be an expert camper.
Whoever helped you with some of that, you have to check out his setup. It's Dr. Eric Yazel, and he's on Facebook. It's his profile is public. You had a pretty snazzy setup. I was impressed.
It looked good, but at 2 a.m. when a storm hit, it did not
wasn't
quite.
good?
No, that was not one of my finer nights of sleep I've had, but it was still, like I said, great to get out in nature and get away.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. Go to Dr. Eric Yazel if you want COVID information,
Yes.
camping information. You're going to want to skip that
This is
apparently, but
correct.
hey, at least you
Yes.
had fun. Where did you graduate? Talk for just a moment about your academic background.
Yeah.
Where did you get your
So I went
degrees?
to Indiana for undergrad and majored in biology there. Then I got a master's at Ball State, and then came down to Louisville for medical school and been here since '99.
Okay,
yeah.
so who do you root for then?
I'm a big Indiana Hoosiers, so all the way. So.
Are you a Cardinal hater at
No,
all?
not at
because
all.
You have your degree.
I root for U of
and-
L against against everybody but IU. So.
Okay, so then the Indianapolis Colts, what did they mean to your life?
Well, when I was a kid, I remember when they first came to Indy from Baltimore, and my dad would take me to one game a year, and I'd walk into their stadium, and back then it was the Hoosier Dome, and I was just in awe, and and they used to be awful. This is pre-Manning days, so I was like the only Colts fan around, but I just liked them, and then just kind of fostered that all the way through, and still a huge fan. So.
Okay, I'm just going to throw this and put you on the spot here. You didn't just foster that. People have written articles. What have you done? Is it for the last 15 years? What have you done, Dr. Yazel, for the last 15 years that is garnering national attention? This is awesome.
Well, so when it actually came back all the way back to when I was in college, and I declared my eligibility for the NBA draft early because I said I was ready to be taken. Now, I don't understand, but I wasn't selected. Very, very surprising for everyone.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And then a few years later, we started talking. This was the Peyton Manning years, and we're talking about how easy it would be to be his backup quarterback because that guy never plays. Manning plays every single snap, and so I wrote a letter to their general manager saying, "Hey, I'm here and available to be your backup quarterback," and didn't get a response. And so, 5 or 6 years later, they had a new general manager. I was like, well, and this was when Luck was there, and I was like, kind of same deal. So I tried my hand again, and no response. Well. Now they have a new general manager, and they had a quarterback opening this year. This is the first letter I've written during the social media year, so I put it out there, and it kind of got some legs, and got a little wild there for a while. So, yeah.
So I mean, are you gonna leave us in suspense? Are you going?
I got a phone call from their I got a phone call from their general manager actually, and actually I missed the first one, but it's pretty cool because I got a voicemail because everybody's like, "Oh, you didn't talk to him." Now
You've got proof.
I've got proof. But yeah, we had a nice conversation, and he said he'd like to have me up for a game this fall. Now he didn't specify if I was playing or just watching, so I guess that remains to be seen.
I mean, but you're dressing the part just in case they need you on the field.
Exactly. I'm doing full wristbands, helmet, all the things. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we will definitely ask you to come back on when you have that experience. I mean, I'll cheer for the Colts if you're the quarterback. Absolutely.
Sounds like a plan.
Dr. Yazel, thank you so much for what you've done in healthcare, but also I hope that you understand the impact that you have made on a tremendous amount of our community by offering up that daily dose of calm and just making people feel like they weren't in this alone.
Thank you.
You are truly a healthcare hero. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Extol Live is sponsored by the New Washington State Bank and Cutter Woodworking, which has a little message for us. Take a look.
Hello, my name's Jerry Cutter, president of Cutter Woodworking. Just want to share with you where Cutter Woodworking is at today and why it is we think it might be helpful for you to consider Cutter Woodworking as a place and being part of our team. We're excited to be the second generation. Parents started a company in 1959 in the basement of the house here on the property that we're currently sitting. We have approximately 330 team members. Many have been with us for decades. Many are neighbors, and we are very excited and proud of that. We feel like this could be a place for those of you that's never considered looking outside of New Albany, Clarksville, Louisville. We would love for you to consider Cutter Woodworking as a place of work, and not only to have a job or to get a paycheck, but to be part of our team. We're very excited. We're very proud of what we have here at Cutter Woodworking, and would love to share that with you and see the opportunities and where it is that not only the company is going, but where you can go as well. We would certainly appreciate the opportunity to have you come and visit and take a day and just understand what opportunities lie possibly in your future.
Again, thanks to the New Washington State Bank and Cutter Woodworking for sponsoring Extol Live. Now, next up, reporter Addie Miners went out and about to take a look at a brand new outdoor cafe. Take a look.
We've been working on it for about 6 months. It was something I wanted to do since I opened Seeds and Greens. It was a back grass area that had no purpose other than dogs would come to use the grass area. So I just really didn't have time, as busy as we were at Seeds, to expand this. So during COVID, when it got a little slow, I started working on the plans. I love the idea that people can see how their food grows. The raised garden beds have a lot of things planted in it. A little variety of everything was what I wanted to show. We've got broccoli growing, tomatoes, zucchini, eggplant, a lot of herbs, cucumbers, and I also think for families it might be a nice spot, you know, to bring children to, you know, kind of dine amongst the plants. We've got a lot of sunflowers and zinnias growing, and then more kind of some perennials and English garden. But I wanted to have a beautiful place to dine, more than just a concrete patio. We really wanted a lot of plants.
By all accounts, the Seeds and Greens Outdoor Cafe is amazing. And the funny thing is there's a little connection with our next guest. This is musician Jacob Resch, who's joining us this morning. Jacob, your family actually knows the owner of Seeds and Greens.
Yeah, my family's known Stacy for years. I've known Stacy my entire life. Yeah. So actually those bricks actually were our bricks.
I love
we
that.
regifted to her, which we were glad someone put them to good use. So it looks great.
Well, the Resch family has been an important part of Southern Indiana, and especially in revitalizing downtown New Albany. Seeds and Greens Outdoor Cafe, that is a great spot for lunch. I love Seeds and Greens. But right now we're talking about, you have an upcoming album. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's my debut album. It's going to be released July 23rd. I almost said June. I forgot we were in July.
I know, we're
July
here.
23rd. It went so quick. My debut album will be released July 23rd. It's called Clockwork. I had several projects in the past, some EPs and some singles, but this will be my first full-length debut album.
So Jacob, I mean, we just finished talking with Dr. Eric Yazel and all things COVID. As a musician, I mean, what has the past year been like for you? And I'm going to ask a twofold question. How in the world did you put together an album in the midst of all of this?
Well, it seemed like that was the only thing I could do was write music. So usually I play about 30 plus dates a year, locally, regionally, up Chicago, down to the Carolinas. We kind of tour regionally. We played 4 shows all of last year, and 2 of those were before COVID really hit. So my band and I didn't really have much of anything to do in terms of live performance. So I just turned to writing and recording. And recording always sounds like it's going to go quicker than it actually does. So this album was actually supposed to be released a long time ago, but the process took a lot longer. But for a long time, March, April, May, I was just stuck in my apartment writing music, you know, almost for the entire length of the days. And so that's how this album kind of came to fruition, is just locked away writing music.
So because you're not just a singer, you play instruments and you're a songwriter as well. So where do you get inspiration from?
I definitely relationships with different people, whether that be romantic or not. In terms of romantic relationships, I definitely shout out to my girlfriend Danielle. So definitely, she's definitely one of my inspirations in terms of songwriting content. But in terms of inspirations from other artists, I grew up listening to rock and blues. Big fan of soul. A lot of Motown influence. A lot of blues and rock influence. I'm a big Bruno Mars fan. So I like to think that my music is kind of a combination of all my inspirations and influences, and it's kind of like a mix between pop and soul, pop, soul, blues.
And so with Clockwork, I mean, what are we going to see or hear or experience with this album?
So the reason I called it Clockwork, I think if you listen to the album start to finish, which I'm not sure how many people do that nowadays with streaming services, but start to finish, I think you'll see several different emotions and feelings. And the reason I called it Clockwork was because over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year, we all experience these same emotions and feelings, and you can count on it like clockwork. You'll feel happy, you'll feel sad, you'll feel romance, you'll feel all these emotions. So no matter how bad the day is, like clockwork, another emotion is going to come to take that feeling away.
We'll talk in just a second about when the release party is, when people can actually listen to that full album. By the way, I'm one of those. I push play and let the whole thing play so you can experience what the artist actually intended. But what about live concerts, live shows? Where can people see you perform? Are those coming back now?
Yeah, this June has been so busy for me. It's almost too busy, but my next performance will be my album release show, which will be at the Enchanted Fortress at Floyd County Brewing Company. That'll be July 24th. So the day after the album release, we're having the album release show. We're gonna have a 7-piece band. It's gonna be a whole lot of fun. So we'll be doing the album in its entirety, and then kind of our normal set. So we play originals, covers, a lot of fun stuff that people know and can get up and dance and sing along to. We like to have energy and excitement from start to finish. So there's no breaks with us.
Well, in Floyd County Brewing Company's Enchanted Forest, if you have not been there, what a tremendous venue
Brian,
for
the owner, has
musicians.
done an amazing job.
Shout out to Brian Hampton. I mean, we appreciate you and what you're doing for our music scene. I mean, that's amazing. But the album actually is released on July 23rd.
Yes.
And then again, people can come and see you live July 24th.
Yep, that's correct.
All right, set up though, we're going to actually get to watch, not just listen, but watch the first single that you've released, Soul. So set this up a little bit for us.
So this song I actually wrote in Nashville and recorded in Nashville with a producer named Austin Sean. Austin's an amazing songwriter and producer. Wrote it with him, had it mixed down in Nashville by Ken Ballman. And the video was, and the album artwork was actually done by Tyler Zoller, who has a studio right across the street from here.
Yes.
I've known Tyler forever. So he and I listened to the song, kind of brainstormed, and we came up with this video.
Okay, I know we had it on the screen there just a moment ago, but if people want to know all things Jacob Resch music, where can they go?
You can go to my Facebook page, which is just Jacob Resch, R-E-S-C-H. I get a lot of misspellings and mispronunciations, so I had to be specific. Jacob Resch on Facebook. You can check me out on Instagram, which is @TheJacobResch. I'm on YouTube. I'm used all on Spotify, Apple Music. Everywhere you can find music, you can find me.
And you also have a website with all of those different links.
Yes, JacobReschmusic.com has links to everything.
All right, Jacob, thank you so much for taking the time. You're kind of a neighbor of ours here on Market Street, even though you're on the other end. But now here's Soul by Jacob Resch.
The sun don't set on our body, the moon still shines on our soul. Baby blue eyes with the tan lines, running my fingers through her hair. She got that red lipstick with the sundress. Feels like we're the only ones there. Can't get too close to you, yeah. Thinking about what we could do, and your kiss is driving me crazy. The sun don't set on our body, the moon still shines on the soul. this is driving me crazy. The sun don't set on her body. The moon still shines on her soul. Every single way that you got me got my head spinning out of control. She's so fine. She's a queen. She's everything in between. The sun don't set on her body. The moon still shines on her soul. The sun don't set on her body. The moon still shines on her
That was Jacob Resch again. His album drops on July 23rd, and then you can go to the Enchanted Forest at Floyd County Brewing Company on July 24th to hear Jacob and I think he said his 7-piece band live and celebrate that brand new first ever album, and that's called Clockwork, but that song right there was called Soul. We want to thank the New Washington State Bank and Cutter Woodworking for sponsoring Extol Live. We hope that you've had some fun. Once again, Colin, I asked you to wait on those Honey Cream Donuts. They're an institution. They've been around for over 80 years in New Albany. I picked these up instead of cooking something. So we've got a little bit of, red, white, and blue here, a little bit of 4th of July themed, but you are really kind of digging the maple and bacon.
Yeah, and I am so mad at you that you left this sitting out in front of me for the past half hour. I've been trying so hard not to get a bite of it. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet, so I've just been staring it down.
Wow.
So I'm pretty
Without further
excited.
ado, you help yourself. I mean,
I've been waiting for this moment.
if you watched us at the beginning of the show, you know that all this next week, he's going to be listening to Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus. So, I mean, you may as well enjoy something right now. Billy Ray, I love you, by the way. All right, Honey Cream Donuts, what do you think?
I mean, it's not hard to go wrong with mixing bacon with maple syrup. Thank you. But I think it's fantastic. It's really good. I love it.
I've got to look okay. We're looking inside it.
The bacon is also
that's a lot
really
of bacon.
chewy, but I enjoy chewy bacon. So this donut was made for me, and I enjoyed that bite.
Shout out to Honey Cream Donuts, that's for sure. Thanks so much for joining us for Extol Live. We are live every Friday at 11 a.m. right here on Facebook Live or our YouTube channel. And wanted to share something else. We're also starting something called Treat Yourself Tuesdays. Every other Tuesday, we'll have a different boutique, a different vendor, a different artist who will be live with us just for a few minutes. And they'll be showing off some of their wares and offering something special just for Extol viewers. Our very first ever Treat Yourself Tuesday will feature Cadellas. And that's owned by Lori Unruh, and she creates a variety of different jewelry pieces, including, see, that's my little girl right there. I love this one so much. She's gotten so much bigger, but everything from bracelets and necklaces and all kinds of things. And again, it's Treat Yourself Tuesday, 9 o'clock. We'll be posting this on our social media, and Lori's going to be with us and offer something special and exclusive just for Extol viewers. And we're not going to share it on social media. You're going to have to actually watch what she says in order to get whatever little treat she's going to have for us. Hope you enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Again, thanks so much for taking the time to watch us here on Extol Live. Before we go, it's Furry Friday. So let's check out the Jeffersonville Animal Shelter.